guys, I'm Cory Oliver. Thanks for watching the Coriolis Effect. Please hit the subscribe button below, and we hope you like this episode. Is a classroom the best way to teach your children to be curious, creative, and entrepreneurial? Of course not. Real learning comes from doing. Welcome to the Children's Business Fair, a one-day event where young people can launch and showcase a business. You'll be amazed by what children can accomplish, and it's a great way to bring your neighborhood to life. Launching a children's business fair is easier than you think and free. We'll even throw in $500 of prize money. Find out more at podcast.childrensbusinessfair.org.
Good morning, Cory.
Good morning, Bob.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, a little upset at you. We were at a mutual friend's house for a Saturday get-together, and somebody refused to play me in ping pong because she's chicken. That's being you. Yeah, you got an answer for that?
You are such a crybaby. Oh my God. Do you have a button for like, wah? Well, first of all, I'm going to actually tell how it really went down. You played and I was like, have you played before? Oh no, I played.
I never said no.
Right.
I said I've seen the game played.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you play said person that was at this party, and I'm watching, and you're literally like, I'm having conversations with people, but you're still throwing the game on purpose, really throwing it.
It's called the setup.
You really did you should have been an actor. And then I get up there to play.
And you're in your mind thinking, I got this guy. I'm going to
And you're like the top ping pong player on the planet. Say that 3 times. And I was like, you did not just do that.
I did.
And you did.
And you walked away from me. You wouldn't even play me in the game.
I was like, come on.
All I said, first of all,
you're like putting top spin, you're cornering it, you're over the line, you're under the line, you're topping, popping, and it's like, you're like turning around, hitting it behind you. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you haven't played in 30 years.
Well, I haven't played probably in about 5 or 6.
Okay.
So.
All right.
No, but everything I said was God's honest truth. I said, can you teach me how to play? And I was serious. Can you teach me how to play?
Okay.
I said, I've seen the game played before, and I have seen it played many times while I was playing it. I have not played in 5 years.
That's semantics, and I don't work that way.
It's not semantics. That's absolutely true statements.
First of all, when I know that you know that you're wrong, what happens? You guys can't see this, but he shakes his head a little bit. He goes...
Oh, is that my tell?
Mm-hmm. Right. You go...
So
it's like, so there.
Are we going to play poker now? Can you teach me poker?
You're so funny. I can't wait for Irina to get home. You're hilarious.
So they updated my bank app. And I updated the Ank app, and I was looking at it.
The Ank app?
The Ank app, yeah. And I was looking at it, and they have a rating on all apps, an age rating.
Uh-huh.
You know what the age rating for a bank app to check your bank account is?
Mm-mm.
Age 4 and up.
What?
Yes. When you go to your bank app, and I've looked at all my other bank apps, are the same thing.
Oh, it's so crazy.
So what 4-year-old has a bank account and has a phone that can check a bank app?
I don't know. Maybe there's...
First of all, what 4-year-old has a phone? I'm sure there's some.
A lot of 4-year-olds, yeah.
So like Bank of America, First Bank, Wells Fargo, Chase. If you look at all their apps, it says, okay, for ages 4 and up.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's just stupid.
Huh. Yeah.
Anyway. What's up with you, non-ping pong player?
I actually am a good ping pong player, and I was taught by my ex-husband, and he was really good, and he taught me, and I can play. I'm mediocre.
Then why wouldn't you play me?
Well, because you're like, I don't even know a top ping pong player's name, but you're right there. Just so you know.
I couldn't think of one either.
You couldn't?
Forrest Gump.
Okay, Forrest Gump, you're right. You do kind of resemble him.
Thanks.
Yeah.
One of the best actors ever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, ping pong, it's fun. It's a fun game, but yeah, that was really, no. Chicken? Is your chicken chicken?
No,
oh, no problem.
Chicken,
I'll play you. No,
right,
do you have a ping pong
I do.
pool? Okay.
I have a ping pong pool? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a ping pong table in the garage.
Oh, my
It's folded up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I know. I'm to never trust or believe anything that you say. when it
First of
comes
all,
to sports.
Never believe anybody who says, "Is that a game? Can you teach me?" Because that's a
No,
standard
it's my
line
fault.
of a hustler.
It's just my fault. Side hustle.
Guess who we have
I
on the show today?
I wanted to say thank you for the sign, even though
you're
it's
very
still
welcome.
very. I now have a new sign for everybody out there. It doesn't just say "Do not bang the table." In "not" is in bold, underlined red letters. Which is probably somewhere on the screen right now. It says 3 words that describe you, which is not a full sentence. So I actually have to have that rewritten because that's if I say to someone, "Oh, 3 words that describe you."
It's more of
That's
notes.
Oh, it's notes.
Yeah, it's not an exact. I'll have it fixed by next time. But well, it's better than describe yourself in 3 words, which is. And I will remind you that on one of the episodes, you looked at the sign that
You know
says
what?
3
You're
words that
right.
describe you,
I know,
and
I did.
said,
I did.
"Describe yourself in 3 words."
Come on, I do have a thing. I'm a special.
Yeah, I'm
I'm a special. Yes.
I think. First of all, I do not deny that you have.
Yeah, I know it's
dyslexia.
clear that I am.
But I do think you overuse that excuse because you use it for
Maybe.
things which are not signs of dyslexia. What happened? I was 30 minutes late. Oh, I have
I'm
dyslexia. You know, the people in the
I did
podcast can't
not
hear you
say
laugh
that.
when you're.
I did
You have
not
used that
say that.
excuse for almost every time you make a mistake. You use that excuse.
When I'm late, first of all, A, I'm never late. I'm always on time. And B, there is no B.
And B, C, A.
I'm dyslexic. B,
First of all, I'm not dyslexic. B, I'm never late. And A, there's
Yes,
no B.
exactly. Right.
You know, they did a study
left.
and they found that 10 out of 2 people have dyslexia.
I know. We've gotten over this. Who's on the show today? Actually,
Are you asking me or are you going to tell me?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh.
A guy by the name of Stu Meyer, and he owns 2 CBD stores called the Comfort Zone.
Right.
One in
Agora.
and one in Montrose. And I actually went into his store in between going to the pet store and the Italian deli just to see how it works and if he had something for TMJ. I don't take drugs. I don't do drugs. I will never do drugs. I'm not a promoter of drugs, but CBD is all natural, and there is no THC in the particular one that I took. And I tell you what, it's helped my TMJ.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I probably take 1 drop. I bought this bottle like 8 months ago. I still have it. It's 3/4 of the way full. So I take 1 drop at night. Maybe it's subliminal. I don't know. And
it stops the pain or?
It's not even that it's pain. I just grind and I don't sleep that great.
Okay.
So it helps me sleep better.
Have you tried the little mouth masks?
I have 2 guards. I have the whole
You must
shebang.
look gorgeous at
I
night.
do. I really do.
I will. If we get 1,000 people to write in, will you give us a picture of you sleeping in your? I picture you. You know, like the Scooby Doo and the guy with the long gown and the hat, the sleeping hat.
Yeah. Oh no, it's like a full. In fact, like I'm always concerned because since Mariel and Bobby came on, I've been putting those things in my nose. Those,
like your fingers right now.
No, those. It's called Mute. They're little.
Mute.
The brand is Mute.
MUTE. Mute. Okay.
And it opens up my deviated septum, and I sleep better as well with that. I have a lot going on. But the first night that I slept with this thing in my nose,
Right.
I woke up and it wasn't there. And I was like, where
So you
is
inhale it?
this thing? And I left for the day and I came back later and I was making my bed and I see it's in pieces, all chewed up. So I'm pretty sure Halo, my dog, either maybe I was, doing that whole thing and she was saving my life. That's what I like to think. And she ripped it out of my nose. I don't know. She just pulled it out and chewed it up. I didn't even know.
She didn't swallow it?
I'm not sure. It's very tiny. They're very tiny, but she chewed.
Are they just little plugs or?
It's like a plastic thing and it fits in pretty tight.
Oh, it's one thing that fits in both nostrils?
Yeah,
like a
and
staple?
it opens up the deviated part.
Right.
And
The
I
septum?
really do sleep better with that, right? I mean, I just have a deviated septum, TMJ. I'm just, yeah.
TMI.
It is TMI. It's a lot of info for all of you out there. But
All right, so Stu's going to come in and tell us the benefits of CBD.
The benefits of CBD, and when I got to talking with him, and I was pretty adamant about no THC and no drugs, he told me his story, and he's a brain cancer survivor and was addicted to all kinds of medications, and he's going to tell us about his story, but he turned to CBD to help him with his neuropathy and some issues that he was having as a result, complications of the surgery. And so I just found him fascinating, and he's there to help people. And that's what I love. He's turned his pain into his purpose.
Good.
So
all right.
It's coming on
I
today.
look forward to meeting him.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you in
I'm
5, 4,
sensing
3,
a little
2,
bit
1.
of like, you okay?
Yeah, why?
Okay. Did you get a haircut?
I did. Got them all cut.
Oh, you
Today.
got a mall cut.
Got them all cut.
Wow.
Not a mall cut. I got them all cut.
Oh, you got...
Got them all cut. I went to the mall and got them cut. No, that's what we say as kids. You get a haircut. No, I got them all cut.
I do know this about you.
Jokes are always better when you have to explain them.
Okay.
All right. See you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We'd like to take a quick break and thank Down to the Wire for sponsoring today's episode. You can find their trio of podcasts, including Down to the Beat and Down to the City Weekly, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But today I want to specifically talk about their Down to the City podcast, which talks about unique local businesses in the city. Also, catch Down to the City's video series where they travel to and showcase local businesses. Their first video episode was of a local tattoo parlor where they got tattoos by the owner who they interviewed. Check that out on their YouTube page, DTTW Entertainment, and visit their website, www.dttwentertainment.com, to learn more about the brand and its podcasts.
Let's start the show.
Let's start the show. Welcome. Today I have a very special guest.
Oh.
Yes, you do.
I do.
And I'm very excited about this
I'm going to tell
interview.
you how I met Stu Meyer, the owner of the CBD Comfort Zone, right?
Yeah. That's
CBD comfort zone.
I did. CBD. That's what I said.
Okay, so we do a word every day. We do a word. This is a phobia,
Okay.
and you have to guess what it is.
Mysophobia.
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 If I was going to guess, it would be the fear of asbestos.
I mean, really?
Like mysophilia.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's the fear of plants.
And you have this, Cory.
Mysophobia.
Fear of men?
No, that'd be manophobia.
Okay.
It's, why would you never, when you were acting and you had to do a scene with
you're a fear of you're literally like a germaphobe.
Germaphobe.
Yeah, fear of germs. Fear of
Fear
germs.
of
Fear of
germs.
dirt or
That's
fear
me.
of germs.
Right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I like germs and dirt. Dirt don't hurt.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's just, I don't fear them. I just am,
I just don't want them anywhere around me.
I had COVID too. SARS, like nine years ago. And since then, I've been a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit. It took me down.
Yeah. Oh,
Really
yeah.
far down.
Yeah.
And probably in some cases
A lot of fear is
built my
irrational.
my immune system up.
Yeah.
But
I had
it left
COVID-18.
me with a result of just like really being overly,
Yeah.
sanitization.
Oh, so this isn't something from a kid.
Nolistic. I'm just kidding.
You weren't germophobic when you were a kid?
No.
No.
But
I don't know if there was germaphobes. back
no,
then.
my grandma really, she kind of might have instilled a little bit in me. Like, just be clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. I suffer from chronic TMJ. Everyone, all my dentists, everyone has always said, take this medication, take this prescription, take that prescription. I don't take anything. I grind so bad. I just internalize everything and I grind. I have 2 night guards, which could explain why I'm still single. It's not a pretty sight.
Do you wear one of those full masks?
Right. I mean, I'm constantly switching them out.
It's a big problem. A lot
It's
of
a big
people are like that.
problem.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure a
I
lot
see
of
it all
people
the
have
time.
come in.
All the time.
And I was at the pet store in Agora, and I literally was in a lot of pain, and I looked up and I saw Comfort Zone. And so I walked in going, I wonder if whatever's in here can help me find some comfort in my TMJ journey.
Right.
And I met Stu Meyer.
There you go.
I'm going to let him tell his story, his testimony, but he is a cancer survivor and has a testimony to share. I did ask him about my TMJ, and he gave me this little tincture of CBD, and I'm happy to report it has no THC. I want to give a disclaimer because I don't do that,
Partake.
and I
Sure.
yes, I would not partake. I'm not judging, but the CBD aspect of it has literally, I don't grind as much.
It's an oil or a
It's
pill?
just an oil. It's a tincture.
That's what we call tincture.
What is a
Yes,
tincture?
A tincture is an oil in a dropper.
Okay.
And you just like do a couple drops at night, and I really don't grind my teeth anymore. I mean, I probably grind, but not like I was waking up with excruciating pain, and I was waking up throughout the night. And so I'm happy to report that too. I haven't had a chance to actually tell you that, but it really does work. And so you're going to tell us your journey and your story. And thank you for being here.
Yeah. No, you're welcome. That's a very common theme in my store. People come in very skeptical, and then they become fans, and they come back to my store over and over again. And we definitely do. We could definitely solve a lot of problems, and that's what really drove me into CBD. So.
Well, what drove you too was the fact that you had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And it was cancerous, and it was operable.
Yeah.
And you had surgery.
Yeah. So you want me to tell that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow will be 6 years. My surgery is on May 5th, 2015. So I'm 6 years out.
Congratulations.
And I had a brain tumor. Can you see that?
Yes.
Nice
yes. Wow.
So in 2015, in like January 27th of 2015, I was on a typical sales call. I used to be in the IT software business for like 30 years. I was a sales guy, consultant, like systems, architect. And I was in a room with, 5 other people around my age doing my normal spiel. And all of a sudden, I lost control of my jaw. I just started repeating the one letter, I. It kind of looked like a stroke, right? And then I snapped out of it like 45 seconds later, and I felt like the old guy that peed in his pants, right?
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
And they all looked at me, and I was like, I've got some new I don't know. I said something like, it must be my new medication or something. I just try to make an excuse and go on. And they're like, wait, hold on. What we just saw.
There was something to it.
Yeah. So they said to me, we'll either drive you to a hospital or we're going to call 911 and have an ambulance. But
This is your work or your clients?
No, my client. This is the first time I ever met him, too. I was just doing my opening presentation.
Wow.
And, long story, we all became friends, So a couple
You
of us.
bond over something like that.
Yeah. So they kept emailing me and they were like, very concerned. And, in the end, I went and visited them like 3 years later. Not for a sales call, just to give them some treats and stuff, And so I always say that, I worked out of my house, right? And I probably would have ignored something like that. Or if I wasn't talking, I talk for a living. If I wasn't talking, I wouldn't have noticed anything in my jaw.
Did you have anything before that one moment in your life that you go, I had a funny feeling here, right? What were they?
Okay, so in hindsight, after I figured this out, so what they say about brain cancer is that the tumor lives in your head for a while. Like it could be up to years. Nobody really knows, right? But they think it's up to years. And at some point, it turns. And I had a couple weeks prior to that been driving on the freeway, and something just went weird in my head.
Like it turns. It turns.
Like it turns. That was
like
how
active,
they.
or?
That's how they describe it. It turns into a growth.
Transforms.
Okay. But in my head, I was driving on the 405 freeway in Orange County, and I pulled over because this thing went on in my head. I felt like my brain twist. Right? And I'm sure that was the turning point. And from there, they say it grows really fast. And I got really lucky because it was in a top of my left lobe and it controlled my jaw. Most people don't survive this cancer because they catch it too late. And the brain is very inoperable. Like there's, I was 2 millimeters.
Depending on where it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's very inoperable. I was 2 millimeters away from, not having the surgery. And my doctor said at the speed it turned, it was really rapidly going. It was probably maybe a week or two. So I was that close. In hindsight, I think and every day after that, until I had the surgery, I had little seizures in my jaw. Oh. Yeah. So they put me on.
Like spasms or just back and forth? Or?
Yeah, it was like I was totally normal. I could be walking in the supermarket. I just couldn't say a word.
Like lockjaw.
Yeah, like lockjaw. Like everything was going fine in my head. Like I knew the words and stuff, and I just couldn't.
So I read that you had the surgery. It was operable. You had the surgery, and they got most of it.
Yeah, they say 99%.
Okay,
they
so
never could be too sure.
They never tell you 100%. But
Yeah.
so then that started your journey down a whole other road of medications and
Yeah.
addiction and
Yeah. So when they diddle with your brain, as my neuro-oncologist, Dr. Green, always says, you never are quite the same person. And I always tell him that's a very understatement, So, so that was the beginning of the journey, right? So yeah, here I am. I saved myself. I have a wife and 3 kids and a beautiful house and pretty good life. Yeah. And I didn't want to give that up. And I felt like, okay, I'm okay here. I did the surgery. It took them 3 months to like prepare me for the surgery, and then
really they waited 3 months.
Well, they have to map your brain, so you have to do all these what they call functional MRIs. I did 2 at UCLA. So I'm at Kaiser. So Kaiser, UCLA, and Cedars-Sinai are all in cahoots with each other on brain surgeries. And so my doctor, Dr. Peichel, does surgeries everywhere, all 3 of those hospitals. So they have to map your brain, make sure you're physically able. I mean, that's like something I always tell people. I was 48 years old at the time, and I was in good shape. I do CrossFit a couple mornings a week, that kind of stuff. I ride a bike, and that's the other part that really saved me. Because if you're not in good shape, they're not going to do that kind of surgery for you.
Right.
So,
what would they say? They would just not do it.
Sorry, go home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
They do that for a lot of brain surgery, a lot of brain cancer.
So it actually helped that you took care of yourself prior to this.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So they felt like fine. Okay, we could go in this guy's brain. So it's a 9-hour awake surgery.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You were awake?
You said awake.
Yeah, awake.
Are you
awake.
kidding?
I only remember like a couple minutes of it, and it kind of plays like a full feature movie in my head.
Yeah.
The part where I actually really woke up. I mean, they have you waking up because they can't in surgery. They can't really tell good brain from bad brain.
Right.
So they start poking around, and
Your left arm goes.
yeah. They go, no, they have this little picture book, and you answer the same question. So they show you a banana, and they say, "What department at the grocery store?"
Oh, you actually it was interactive?
Well,
You had to talk and
Wait,
stuff?
you do that while they're operating on you?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm
supposedly.
out.
Yeah,
They give you a test.
yeah. So I have this very.
Could you feel tugging and pulling and stuff like that?
No.
You couldn't feel anything.
I assume he's numb, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing that really hurt was my back. They had me in this
In a
weirdest
position.
Yeah. So that they have you in a
Sure.
surgical style position. So
For 9 hours.
Yeah, but in the couple minutes that I kind of really
Right.
like, I remember right now, like it plays like a full color movie in
Yeah,
my head.
yeah.
I really came to, and instead of answering the questions, I was like, "Hey, what school did you go to?" And I started being a sales guy and asking all sorts. How many people are in this room? And my doctor,
does your IT?
Peichel,
Yeah.
Dr. Peichel is the weirdest dude, right? Like,
But amazing, Dr. Peichel.
Yeah,
We're giving
oh
you
my
props
God.
right
yeah,
now.
no, Peichel's the man.
Yeah.
But the weird, like a real weird dude, right? And but in that moment in the surgery, he was the man there. Like he was, there was not Dr. Peichel that I knew.
Right.
And even afterwards, when I
was
told him
intense.
this, when I told him this story, he's like, nobody's ever told that yet. But there was music going on, so I really woke up for a few minutes. But they had me awake, like I was answering the right questions and that kind of stuff.
Oh, well, now this is intense because, that's kind of one of those things for a woman, like when you're pregnant and you hear, you might have to have a C-section, thinking that you can actually feel, or you might not, the nerve block might not work, or because you hear of these stories, but so you remember a little bit of this.
Yeah.
This
Oh
surgery.
yeah.
So this all happens. They get 99.9% of your tumor. And
Had the surgery on Tuesday, left by Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was in good shape.
But so the pain, was it just a lot of pain?
Yeah, but it wasn't the incision that hurt.
Right.
It was the rest of my body that was now suffering.
Talk about that. What was suffering?
So, yeah, so what happens is when you do this kind of stuff, you could form neuropathy, right? So basically a lot of nerves started dying off in my system, right? And my sleep was crazy. I didn't sleep for 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it took me a good 3 years to recover. And I
when you
was
say I didn't sleep, you would wake up in the middle of the night, you just wouldn't sleep.
I would get 10 minutes in, 10 minutes, I'd watch the clock all day and night.
No way.
So how does your brain function without the sleep?
It didn't well. It didn't do well, right? So, but here's what was so strange. Like, I would take a 35-minute nap, and I'd wake up like I just slept 8 hours.
Really?
Interesting.
And the thing about the brain, so if they take a little bit out of the left, what happens is it maps over to your right. And they could even tell, right? Because they map in your brain. So my brain was very healthy in that all the functions that it had in that little spot moved over to the other side.
Oh, okay.
And so in a lot of ways, I was like a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was having all sorts of hallucinations, and I was looking out in the stars in the middle of the night, and I was playing the guitar. It was like.
Were you on pain meds though, prescription pain meds at that point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was on like some steroids and all that kind of stuff, but there's not a lot of pain associated with your head.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the most of the pain came afterwards, right? So. I was like, nobody, I tried to do a bunch of Google searching on brain cancer survivors. I didn't find anything. Like, there's no, like, I donate to the American, like, today, this month is Brain Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have a little poster up in my office and at the store. But there wasn't a lot of information. Like, we don't have a parade. There's no ribbon,
Yeah.
No,
you don't really know it.
No,
You're just-
there's no support groups. I mean, there were some things I read, like what to prepare for. And then I had asked my doctor if I could call anybody who had the surgery before, and I just never really got around to it, And it just wasn't a priority, I guess. But so everything was a mystery, and everybody kind of heals differently.
Yeah.
When I describe the way I healed to my doctors, they're like, oh, that's different. Maybe that happens. And I'm very, kind of verbal and descriptive in the way I do stuff. Yeah, so I basically was up all night, taking little 30-minute naps every 6 to 8 hours, and that's just the way I dealt with it.
And then I read, though, that they had given you prescription meds, right?
Yeah. So I tell the doctor, I've got all this pain in my nerves. I have horrible neuropathy in both of my feet. I can't sleep. I can't walk.
When you say neuropathy in both of your feet, what does that feel like?
So neuropathy...
Is it like pins and needles?
Yeah. So neuropathy is a little different for most people, but for everybody. But for the most part, it's like your feet feel numb and icy cold, but to the touch, they're warm.
Yes.
I feel like I have two bumps underneath both of my balls of my feet, like I'm walking on bad socks.
I have the exact same feeling.
Yeah.
I had a herniated disc.
Yeah.
And in my left foot, the last 3 toes feels like your socks are bunched up.
Yep.
Since the last 15 years.
Yeah, that's neuropathy. And sometimes it's just a bump.
Right.
And sometimes that is more painful. So like,
did you get the pain every while for like a minute? Every minute goes off for about a half an hour, and
my feet are always in pain.
Oh god.
Today, currently?
Yeah.
Corey, it's a horrible feeling.
I have a friend who's going through this right now, and I'm that's why I'm asking all these.
So sometimes
do the nerves? I'm sorry, I'm asking you all this, but do the nerves actually die off and never regenerate? Because a lot of times your nerves can.
Well, I don't think nerves can be repaired.
Yeah,
that's why you can't cure paraplegics and stuff, right? So once you're paralyzed, now there's some spinal cord injuries that eventually will cure. It's only maybe your spinal cord got a little too much pressure on it, and it'll take a couple months and years and stuff like that. But with neuropathy, it's a very common thing, and it just hits people differently. And there's a lot of diabetics have neuropathy.
Yes.
Most cancer patients, chemotherapy, chemo and radiation just basically causes a lot of neuropathy. And so, here I am, I'm in a lot of pain, and just like anybody, I go to the doctor and I say, hey, I can't sleep, I can't move, I'm in tons of pain, and what do? They give you opioids.
Right.
So they gave me gabapentin, they gave me tramadol, they gave me Vicodin, they gave me Norcos, and I'm like, oh, I can't sleep, they gave me Ambien.
Which, with each and every one of those is a whole other set of issues that happen.
Oh, no, I can't wake up. They gave me Ritalin, like galore. I mean, I
kidding
got
me.
tons of Ritalin. And so they give you a drug for everything. And that really, didn't solve anything, right? That made me miserable.
It added to the list of your problems.
To the problems.
With side effects.
Yeah, and, between you, me, and everybody else, I'm a pot smoker, right? I've been smoking marijuana my whole life, and that didn't help, right? And so I'm very cannabis friendly, And I thought, okay, I'm going to treat myself, whatever. That wasn't doing anything for me. And it just wasn't really directing anything to the pain. And so I became a drug addict, practically. I had to go to a drug specialist to get off tramadol. So it took me like 5 months to get off everything. And meanwhile, I tried to get back in the work world, and that didn't really work too good. I was too much on drugs. I was like a drug addict trying to get back. And I have this very complex job. I was an expert in my industry at the time. I was a really good document management, imaging software guy. I hooked up a lot of old legacy systems. So I had a world of knowledge in my head that I just really couldn't tap anymore. And so that became a problem. And of course, I was in a lot of pain, not sleeping, gaining tons of weight. I was probably 260 pounds, at my tops. And it was just miserable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
And everything
For
else
3 years?
Yeah. Well, 3 or more years, 3, maybe 4 years until I really got my stuff together. It was 4 years. And, I have 3 kids. At the time of my surgery, I had a senior in high school, a sophomore in high school, and a kid in 8th grade. And now they're all out of the house. But, so I had all that going for me. I had, I have a beautiful wife. I met my wife in high school.
Yeah, I know. I saw a picture. She is. I saw her on your website.
Yeah, so, I've got this great life. And I just was miserable, and I had depression and anxiety and like a lot of things I never experienced. I got, like sleep problems. I never experienced that. I was a dead sleeper. I barely could wake up.
And you went from sleeping really well
to never sleeping.
Never sleeping.
Oh my gosh.
And that in and of itself, when you're sleep deprived, causes, if I don't get 8 hours or 7, even one night, I'm like thrown off.
So you can imagine I was walking around in a fog.
Yeah,
and just using all this different drugs.
Yeah.
Prescribed and not.
So you woke up one day, pot wasn't working for you, the prescription drugs weren't working for you, and you said, what did you say to yourself? I'm going to try a CBD.
Well, I confronted. So, I'm really open about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, we have
and
to
so
have you on
I
here.
find like the best thing to do is like to admit to your problems. So I was at this family. I have a really great family, right? Extended. Both me and
That's a blessing.
Yeah, both me and my wife are one of 3. Everybody lives here. So like we're an instant party of 40. We all have kids. I've got tons of nephews and nieces. And I confided in my brother-in-law at a party. I told him what's going on. I'm like, dude, this is miserable. I'm a drug addict. I can't do anything. I'm going to get fired at work. I'm a loser. It's like I can't make any money. And he was like, okay, let me help you. And he's like, I go to this doctor who's also a drug specialist. I'll make you an appointment. And he made me an appointment, made me go with them, went with me. He did a lot of this stuff. Aww. So, Dan. So Dan is, I've known my wife since she was 16, and she's 6 years older than Uncle Dan, so I've known this kid since he was 9. We're brothers. Yeah, we're brothers.
Yeah.
And so he was like, it was his doc. He even paid for the appointment.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
We're giving you props, Dan.
And the guy gave me a strategy. He talked to me straight up because I would tell my other doctors, but like the neuro-oncologists, they're like, oh, here's another drug, Stop complaining.
They'll go down the whole litany of things, and before you know it, you're just spun.
Yes.
You're depressed. Then they give you a depression medication.
Yeah.
Then the depression medication won't let you sleep. So then they give you a sleeping medication. And I was there. It's a whole other story. When I was married, and he had a cat, and I was allergic to the cat, and they just prescribed.
Yeah. And so this one doctor, sat me down and said, look, you got to take control. Here, let me give you a strategy. And he gave me a strategy how to get off the tramadol. So, I was on a very tight schedule. Like every 4 hours I had to take a pill or I went through withdrawals. And so I would take it every 4 hours. So I was on 6 pills a day, or 5 pills a day. And so I started taking out a quarter pill every Sunday night. And I was over the withdrawal by Tuesday. So Mondays were a little bit tough. Which I probably in hindsight, that was I should have done it.
You reduced it by a quarter?
A quarter.
Each pill?
One pill in the cycle. Next week I would reduce. Well, I'd say I keep that one at 3/4, and I'd reduce
the next one. Okay,
next hour.
And so, how long was that process?
5 months. And so by 5 months, I was taking 4 quarter pills a day.
Oh, okay.
And so then the withdrawal wasn't bad.
Right.
And so my doctor explained it pretty good. It's like, the opioids take over your brain, right? Take over your thoughts and your brain and everything else. And if you just take a little bit out at a time, your brain will adjust. And so like I tried to go cold turkey a couple times. That was horrible. I went through the EBGBs. I was like, yeah, it was horrible. That's a funny story. But
Tell it. Just tell it. We need a little humor. We'll interject
So
a
I
little
said to my
humor.
wife, I said, I got to go cold turkey to get off this stuff. Like, get me out of this house. I can't be near any of my drugs. And we have a friend that has a little trailer in Pismo Beach. And I'm like, let's ask the Lawrences if we could use their little trailer. And I'm going to go there with no drugs, just you, me, and a bunch of, water. And, oh, man.
You drove the trailer into a lake.
Yeah, no, it was like, but
Oh man, that was not.
yeah.
So you literally went there the trailer with nothing.
Yeah, with no drugs.
And you're still married.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
good
my
for her.
God.
She's a saint.
So wait, what happened?
Well, I just, I couldn't handle it.
It was not
I
great.
literally drove home in the middle of the night and got my drugs.
Yeah.
I went about 24 hours.
Wow.
That was like that's the best I could do on cold turkey with that
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
drug.
taking that much stuff, your body was so dependent.
Yeah.
And you probably, in hindsight, you did it the right way, because you can also die if you don't do it the right way.
And that's what we learned.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
So my wife was like, we're not doing it this way anymore.
Right.
So she Googled it. So
Right.
she's
Right.
like, this is very dangerous.
It could be
way to get
very
off of drugs.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I finally got off the drugs. And then I was really in pain. I couldn't sleep. I didn't have the benefit of drugs, So I was like just medicating on marijuana and alcohol. And at that time, CBD wasn't a big thing. So I started doing a bunch of research on CBD, because I knew that there was an answer out there for me. Like I wasn't going to give up, because how am I going to give up, right? I'm a 50-year-old guy. I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I can't live like this.
Yeah.
I got to find some type of solution. I know it's out there. So I did a lot of reading, a lot of research. I learned how cannabis worked in your body, which is a very interesting science.
Tell us that.
Well, I learned a lot about the endocannabinoid system.
Because I want to just interject really
Yeah.
quickly, because I was very I want to make sure this is not a drug. I want to make sure this is okay. And we talked it through when I went into your store, because I don't do drugs, and I'm not. But when you explained it to me and you showed me this chart, and hope maybe we can get a picture of that chart and superimpose it. It is really
the body,
remarkable
right.
what it does do for people.
Yeah, so our bodies create cannabinoids. We have an endocannabinoid system. It was discovered in the 1940s. And a lot of research has gone on since the 90s on the endocannabinoid system. But basically it controls mood, pain, sleep. It controls a lot of the body. Anxiety. And we have two receptors in our nervous system, CB1 and CB2 receptors. And they're all throughout our body. Some CB1s are like on the surface level. CB2 are more in the organs and the brain. And
these are just natural chemicals in the body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all create cannabinoids. Every mammal. That's why we have pet stuff. We got dog, cat, everything. Horses take CBD. So we all create cannabinoids internally. Well, what cannabis is cannabinoids. They're what we consider phytocannabinoids, or plant-based, outside cannabinoids. And that's why, people like to smoke pot and versions of it. Hashish and all that is a very popular drug worldwide. It's because our bodies actually have receptors that receive it. We don't have receptors for acetaminophen, We don't have Advil receptors.
Receptors.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. Yeah.
Sometimes, and it kind of works like nicotine also, the same way as heroin works in your body and opioids. Our brains have these receptors for it, and that's why those drugs are so dangerous. Yeah, so once I figured that out, it kind of helped me understand why I'm a 50-year-old guy and I still like to, smoke pot. It's like, how come I didn't grow up, But I was self-medicating, it was I guess for anxiety and stuff like that. I just didn't recognize it, and I was fine. I was going along my life pretty well. But once I discovered that, and then a couple other things came into play. So they started talking about CBD, I would say 4 years ago, right? I say, okay, yeah, 4 years ago.
I think a little, maybe almost. Because I remember going to, maybe 8 years ago, I remember going to a gifting suite, and they were giving out, a big company was giving out, I won't mention, but they were giving out some
CBD?
samples of CBD. Yeah.
So
2014,
Because
15
the
is where it
person
started
who
getting the news.
started it,
in 2014,
cured his
there was an
son.
agriculture bill that came out, and that led to the 2018 Farm Bill. So those two bills combined legalized cannabis with less than 0.3% THC, and that's what I sell. It redefined it as industrial hemp. So 2018 was the real magical year. And so that was the year that it became legal, right? And that
Yeah,
has
most states, because I think Colorado.
federally legal.
Oh, federally legal. Okay.
Federally
Colorado
legal.
was 2014. That's when they came in.
Yeah,
There were
yeah.
5 states at the time.
Well, we've been, California, we've been legal marijuana state for 21 years now.
Have we really?
Yeah.
For
Since
glaucoma
90
or for
Ni-
recreational?
I
Well, not
think
recreation.
It was in 1993, I think, that the the first compassion care law came out, and that's where we got the 420. That was the
Right.
House Bill HB 420.
Oh, is that why it's 420?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So they named it 420.
Right.
There's a story behind that, but
Wait a minute. Was
Yeah.
it? We call it 420 because of that bill, or they called that bill 420 because of 420?
it was that
They-
way.
they
Yeah.
named the
They
bill
named
because of 420.
after four. Yeah, that's why they named it
What,
420.
where did 420 come?
420 is like if you could Google it, but there was a high school in Humboldt County, and all the kids there, Humboldt County is in the Golden Triangle up there, or the Emerald
Yeah, that was
Triangle.
like the-
yeah, that's
yeah.
where all the real good stuff started. And they would say they would meet at some spot at 420.
At 420, okay.
Yeah, that's like when
So it was a
classes
time
ended.
thing.
Yeah, it was a time thing. That's when classes ended, and that just became like
Right.
their little holiday.
Right.
Yeah, so we just celebrated that, right? Anyway, so. Yeah, so that's once it became legal, then the stuff was more pure. Like I was buying a 100 milligram tincture, like the size you bought. You have the 500 milligram for $40 at my store. I was buying 100 milligram, same size, for about $120.
Jeez, by the way, I
And-
still have that, and that was like 6 months ago. So
Yeah.
I literally use like
Yeah, you're
One
not the
drop.
best customer, but
I'm
yeah,
not.
I'm a real good customer. Yeah.
I mean,
So, like today, in my world today, I do about 100 to 150 milligrams a day, right?
And
I've
this
made
is
that
just
affordable.
to clarify, because I just want to.
Yeah.
This is you don't smoke pot anymore. You just do CBD, and this
I do
helps.
little- yeah,
this
no,
helps
I,
your
no,
your
I
body.
smoke pot still.
Oh,
Yeah, but only very little. Like on occasion.
and the CBD helps with the neuropathy.
Yes. Well,
Tell
it
me
helps with
why
all my
it-
pain.
Okay.
Because CBD is like one of the best anti-inflammatories, right? And so most pain is caused by inflammation. Yeah. And so once you control inflammation, you can control a lot. Okay, so also because it works in your endocannabinoid system, it controls pain and mood and inflammation, and that settles nerves.
So let me ask you, what would hijack an endocannabinoid system? So if our bodies create a 1 and a 2 and it all works in
Yeah.
conjunction with each other, what comes in and disrupts it to the fact that you're not creating enough or you're not adequately I don't know how I'm supposed to say this, but it's not.
I don't think I know that answer,
Okay.
but I will tell you this. Like when you look at like anxious people, and like I get a lot of older people in my store, and they've never had any cannabis, right? They think it's the devil's lettuce, that whole thing. It's like they came up in
I
the
know.
reefer madness time. And but they've been high strung. They can't sleep. They haven't slept in years, right? Usually a lot of old people, high strung old people, you give them a little gummy, a 10 milligram CBD, they've never felt so good. And so a lot of people just don't understand their body, and a lot of people live with a lot of anxiety and pain.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do.
Do you know an extraordinary child, a budding superstar who is ready to take on the world and who loves to have fun? If so, he or she deserves a chance to shine at a children's business fair, a one-day event where young people can launch and showcase a business. You'll be amazed by what children can accomplish, and it's a great way to bring neighbors together amid sunshine and laughter. At a children's business fair, children will make something with their own hands, sell it safely, and experience the freedom of having a little extra spending money as a reward. It takes less than 10 minutes to apply and as little as 3 hours to plan a fair. Just set up a few tables on a lawn and send a few emails to friends and family. You can host a fair for free, and we'll even chip in up to $500 of prize money. Sound too simple? Join parents who want to equip and inspire their children to shine in the real world. Start your audition to host a children's business fair in your community or find out more at podcast.childrensbusinessfair.org. So why does the pharmaceutical companies just not want you to take that because there's no money in it for them? Or is this
I think you nailed it on the head, right? When you're trying to legalize a natural plant, yeah, I mean, it's all about money. So the cannabis industry, which is nothing, right, compared to the pharmaceutical, alcohol, tobacco.
Right.
It's funny you say it's like an $8 billion industry. That's nothing compared to the $200 billion.
Oh my
that's
God!
for the
So
drugs.
it's nothing. You're fighting against everybody. Alcohol doesn't want legal marijuana or
Right.
legal CBD because it takes away their business. Pharmaceuticals don't. They don't want.
Right.
And then to interfere here. The other thing that really was a game changer, biggest game changer, was the topicals. I found that I could rub my feet in CBD and take away a lot of pain.
Yes.
Is
Unbelievable.
it an oil or?
Yeah, well, it's topical, so they come in creams, like salves. We got roll-ons. We've got it
And
all.
it just seeps through the skin and kills and
Yeah.
affects the nerves that way.
Yeah,
Well, your
so-
skin is the largest organ, so anything you put on it,
Yeah.
I put a tiny bit of, this is a little steroidal cream because of, hormones and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm telling you, it's like
Topicals
the tiniest,
work.
I'm talking like this big of a pea.
Yeah.
And it can change your whole body's,
And so, I deal with a lot of arthritis at the store, and I give those people a little bit of cream. I get calls the next day. Oh my God, pain's gone. Worked.
So
like
what are
my
some
dad.
Yeah.
My dad was super skeptic, and he loves it. He can't.
I know
listen.
you
So
have
when you say arthritis is pain when you're moving your
it's inflammation of your
Inflammation of
joints.
the
Okay, so when you rub it in, is the joint no longer inflamed?
Well,
Is that a word?
Inflamed?
I'm sorry.
Inflamed, yeah. Did I say
Let's just take a
inflamed?
moment right
Inflamed?
now for two of our audience.
so
Bob Victor just said, 1 second, Stu, because I have to take this moment. I really do. Is there a button for this? Bob just said inflammated.
yeah, inflamed.
I heard inflamed.
Inflamed. Inflamed.
See, inflamed. Yeah.
So basically, it's something like this.
Does it take
Bob.
the inflammation
If you can
down?
reduce like a 0.5%
Three
of
words of
inflammation,
describe, right?
you'll experience a ton of pain relief.
If you what? I'm
That,
sorry.
just a little bit of inflammation reduction.
Yes, of course.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
It's also inflammation causes heat, and then the
Yeah.
heat and the inflammation, anything will hurt.
Well, my
when
question
it's-
was, does it take away just the symptom of the pain or it takes away the cause of the pain?
No.
Not
You're
the
never going to
cause.
cure.
Yeah.
Never going to cure arthritis.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes people comfortable. Like when you live in chronic pain, if you
Without a
can get,
side effect, I might add. Because
Yeah.
if you take the medications
No.
they give you, then you've got the side effect from
Yeah.
the medications that they've given you, and you're not actually.
Well,
a whole
okay,
other
so
problem.
if you have arthritis, it's just an inflamed area. There's nothing wrong with the joint or the limb, right?
Oh, yeah, you should see the fingers.
Yeah, there's rheumatoid arthritis. It depends on what kind of arthritis
so
you have.
So arthritis is very debilitating, very debilitating.
Yeah.
And it's very uncurable. A lot of people have a lot of arthritis and they just get a new shoulder or new knees. Most of the replacement parts, I get a lot of customers with replacement parts, like new knees, hips, and shoulders all the time. It's all arthritis.
Well,
I have people that have fake.
aftermarket parts.
Yeah, yeah. I have people that have fake fingers that come in because their fingers got so messed up with
They can
arthritis.
change the bones in your fingers?
Yeah,
Really?
they put in a new finger. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I would imagine
They just
you're-
take the bone out and they put
Yeah.
in a new knuckle, a metal knuckle.
Wow.
I
And the body
really-
accepts it, huh?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You on?
No, I just
You're still on inflammation.
what?
Yeah. So there's also a lot of other type of like inflammation problems. There's bursitis. There's all sorts of different arthritis
Which all of these things are going to inhibit you from sleeping well. So you're probably your number
Did
one
you say
customer.
inhibit you from?
Prohibit you. Okay.
You said
You know what?
inhibit you from.
It's going down.
You wanna bring it
for
on? You
real.
wanna bring it?
What's that?
you
Yeah,
wanna bring
let's
it? You
put the
wanna bring
gloves
it?
on
Okay.
right now. You get the red ones. I'll get
get
the
it.
blue ones,
Yeah.
or vice versa. So I would imagine that your number one customer is somebody that is not sleeping well. Is that like?
I'd say like 85% of the people who walk in my door can't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially now with everything that's going on.
Migraines? Because I get what are called cluster headaches. Every 2 or 3 years, I get them for 2 weeks straight, every other day. They are the same 3 points in my head, all down, and I've tried everything.
Yeah.
Imatrix is, I think, what the doctor has me on now.
Yeah.
If I can take it while I feel it, because I always get a 30-minute headway.
Yeah.
I go, but if I don't,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
out for
done.
9 hours.
Yeah, right.
And
That's
I had
very
a,
common.
I had a client who was one of the 400 licensed collectives before everything became legal. And he gave me a bunch of this, that, and the other. So you could take one. I had a headache. I ate it, and my head just felt worse.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that was marijuana. The whole thing was a bud.
Right.
But if there's an oil that if I can take while it's coming on.
So migraines are tricky. A lot of the pharmaceuticals, as you've experienced, work well.
Right.
But some of it doesn't. And so some people could take CBD and relieve it. And then more common is the topical. Like we have this beautiful lavender salve that you rub, on the different spots. Mm-hmm. So with a lot of essential oil, aromatherapy, all of that could be tied into CBD. So we do a lot of that. So we have,
I'm saying
strong.
don't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have strong minty. I was wondering what you're doing. We have strong, mint, menthol or eucalyptus style stuff for your neck. Very good. Yeah. So a lot of it is using your other senses.
Which, by the way, I'm watching the show, is it Outlander?
Outlander.
Yeah, and it takes place 200 years ago. Yeah. But if you watch the show, and you I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the show?
I've been wanting to, but I know
I'll tell
about.
you, it's worth watching just for this aspect alone because they literally talk about all the natural cures of the things that they did back 200 years ago.
Yeah.
They're using all this stuff.
Yeah, they're
obviously
using
God grew it for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, with the different ailments that happened in the show, the remedies that she's a doctor, that she prescribes or gives them, and it's
botanical extractions.
It's botanical extractions. They didn't have all these, big pharma back then.
Yeah.
So
and so plant medicine has been around a long time, a lot longer than Western medicine.
All drugs are made of plants. It's just different concoctions.
Yeah.
I mean, cocaine's a plant. It's just
That's right.
So tell me then. So you're 4 years into it. You decided, okay, I've got your brother-in-law Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, we love you, Dan.
Yeah.
He got you to a good doctor. He put you on a program of CBD oil.
No.
That took him off the.
Yeah, that took
to get you off. I'm sorry.
Right.
And then when did CBD enter Stu Meyer's life?
Well, I've been playing around with cannabis for a long time, and so, but most of the cannabis gets you high, right? And then that makes you a little dumb, and you can't really work and communicate and be a normal person. And so, basically, when I heard about CBD, being a low THC solution, I was all around it. I was all about it, and. The very first CBD was all about, because they didn't grow, nobody's going to grow low THC weed. It's like there's no money in it. But there was a couple people that were growing it, right? And the very first one, I'm sure you've heard of Charlotte's Web and the Stanley
That's the one
brothers.
that I was going to bring it in, but that's the one that was at the gifting suite, which was 8 years ago.
Yeah, so they were the first ones to really commercialize it. There's a lot of
And by the way, his story was to his child.
Yeah, no, it was this young.
Was it given pain relief?
No. It was this young girl named Charlotte Fiji.
Yes.
She just recently passed away, unfortunately. And she was this very young, maybe 6 or 7 years old, and she was having every minute.
Okay,
seizures.
I read that. 300 a day.
300 a day,
Yes.
and there was no medicine. And then the Stanley brothers were like a big family of 7 guys that like to grow everything. And there's a lot of different stories of it, but basically they were working in the plant scientist world. So in nature 200 years ago when Outlander, hemp grew wild everywhere. But it was like my kind of hemp. It's not high THC that was the natural, it was high CBD. And so the deer and antelope all ate hemp, and people had a lot more cannabinoids in their body.
Oh, by eating the deer.
Because they would eat the deer, yeah.
So once they made this plant illegal, then all the feed went to grain and rice, and it would be so much better if we just let
nature take its course.
Yeah, nature. Okay.
What a
how do
concept.
they get the THC out of the plant? They just breed
so,
it out?
Yeah, so in the 60s in Humboldt County, they bred the hemp to be stronger THC, right? Because everyone wanted to get high. So they would mix it with Thai and Mexican cannabis and all sorts of different and they came up with something called indica, right? Indica was the very first. That's the big sticky high THC. And so they bred it to have high THC. So all they had to do was just reverse.
Okay.
So basically, but so this plant scientist, I don't know if you know anything about plant science, but you pop a seed and you get these 2 roots and you merge them together and you can create all sorts of different strains.
Right.
And so they worked on a low THC strain like nobody else would. Okay. And then what they did was they did some botanical extractions. They made an oil out of it. And most CBD is sold in oil form. We sell now flour because we have very good smokable flour. And that oil, they gave it to this little girl, and all of a sudden, 0 seizures. Just worked. And they gave her a very high dose. Right. And then another discovery, it's called Rick Simpson oil. Rick Simpson's like the godfather of extraction technology. And so he was really, you can make this, they sell a little bit of RSO oil, you can make it. It's a very high concentrated THC, and it's used to fight cancer, right? And a lot of like in Europe and especially in Germany and in Israel, they're doing a lot of work with high doses of THC to fight cancer. I even have a customer who has been treating his wife for 14 years with bladder cancer.
To cure the cancer or relieve the symptoms?
Cure.
Cure.
There's also just an FYI, and I'm not a doctor, and I want to preface this by saying that I'm not giving a solution, but I did just hear that this came up the other night. Somebody was telling me the Latrell, it's vitamin B17, and if you look it up, it's this apricot seed crushed down and made into a powder will literally cure cancer.
Yeah.
Which will probably get blamed for that.
Yeah.
But yes,
You're right. So, but there hasn't been, the scientists can't study because you can't have university studies on illegal substances. It just doesn't work. But now with CBD and the low THC and everything that's going on, there's like hundreds of studies going on nowadays, and so like a lot of universities are now studying it. But it's all been kind of anecdotal.
Right.
And that's really how CBD is. It's all anecdotal. And is that better than a double-blind taste test? I don't know.
So what are some of the...
There's still a connotation that it's you're getting high, anybody does marijuana, there's still a connotation against it.
Yeah.
But what are some of the health benefits of taking an oil like that, like CBD?
Well, a lot of
just
people,
in general, like if you weren't coming in with anything
No.
and somebody just wanted to take it.
So a lot of people use CBD as like a vitamin, a supplement, and that's how it's sold. And so a lot of people just use it for overall health.
are you going to see a difference in your nails, your hair, your skin?
Yeah, I think so.
You are, okay.
And, the thing is, like, even if you're an okay sleeper, if we give you a better night's sleep, you'll be a different person. You'll lose weight. I had a lady come in the other day, and she's like, oh my God, I didn't sleep all this time. And I took your advice. I've taken all these products. I'm sleeping. I lost 5 pounds. She was so happy.
Right. Her system's probably...
Yeah, her system is better. And so it's a very good free radical,
Right.
Killer.
Is it considered sort of an antioxidant, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good antioxidant.
And is this something that when someone comes in and they ask about this, can they take this with their prescribed medicines?
Yeah. So the only one thing that we need to caution people is just if you're taking a blood thinner. That's the only thing. So if you're taking a blood thinner...
Well, aspirin's blood thinner, so...
Not that kind of blood thinner.
Okay.
Like a really...
Like I had a heart attack, I'm taking a blood thinner?
Yeah, like most people have strokes and seizures.
I always tell everybody, even when you go to Air One and you get a new vitamin, consult your doctor if you're on medications. Because you just don't know if it's going to interact with something that you're taking, The
problem with the story goes something like this, that it uses the same protein in your body to break it down. So it uses like the P145 protein in your body, and so does CBD. So they don't want it to compete with the protein. That's the only issue.
Gotcha.
And so you just have to time it out, 4 hours. Now, I deal with a lot of old people that come in on doctor recommendation, because for instance, I have people that have like herniated discs in their back for 15
that's
years.
A common
you're 85. You've been on Vicodin since you were 60.
Pointed to
right.
you.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
When you said you're 85.
Yeah. So this gentleman hypothetically is 85. He's been on Vicodin for the last 15 years. His doctor's like, your liver and kidney functions are way low. Go find some CBD, and so and even that, these guys are on blood thinners. The doctor's like, who cares, at that point, so it's not, it's not 100%, but there just hasn't been that many studies out
So
there.
your store, the CBD Comfort Zone, you have 2 stores.
Yeah.
You have one in Agora, next to the Italian Deli, which I love going there, and in between. No, is it in between the pet store and the Italian Deli?
No, we're next
to the...
Yeah, we're 4 stores away.
That's right, okay.
It's in the Vons and CVS
Yes.
mall.
And you also have another store in...
Montrose. It's a little part of Glendale.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I live in La Crescenta.
And I know, I'm always amazed because he drives us far, but your store...
People in this bubble think it's
Or
far.
your... I know, right? Your
That's so true. God,
I drive a Toyota Avalon hybrid. It gets 40 miles to the gallon. You know,
back east, everybody drove an hour to work.
Yeah,
yeah. Here, you know.
I mean, as a traveling sales guy for 30 years in LA,
Yeah.
I used to do 40,000 miles every year. Now I only do
it's not that
25.
far.
Yeah, so
So
That's
I'm
fun.
sure that you've seen your business grow, if you will, since the pandemic, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, it really hasn't grown.
Oh.
You know,
Is
we're doing fine.
Are all of the products
Hmm?
in your store, are they independent companies, or are these, do you pull from different companies?
Yeah, so I
your
went
online?
in. Yeah, so there's a couple ways that you can enter the CBD marketplace, and okay, so it's a really interesting market. And the only thing I can relate it to is I entered the IT market in 1988. You know, when PCs were Clone Wars, and it's very similar. Like, there's a ton of, you know, there's no real big brand. We all know Charlotte's Web a little bit, but most people don't. There's no Kleenex or Xerox out there, right, in the CBD world. And everybody wants that. You know, everybody wants to make a brand, and everybody wants to be the next CBD billionaire. You know, there's big venture capital groups, and there's all sorts of stock plays and, you know, mutual funds you could get in the cannabis world, and they're on the penny stock. I mean, you can really, you can get into it. But
a lot of penny stocks in there. Yeah.
so in all this, I decided to do what I did in my software side. I test the market, and I pick the best products for the right fit. And so I went out and I did like 6 to 8 months, you know, traveling. I went to Oregon, Denver, Colorado, Kentucky, Florida. I visited labs and farms and extraction facilities and bottling facilities and all sorts of places to learn, you know, and I talked my way into a lot of these things. And I just got really educated, and I decided at that point, like, a lot of people will spend all this money to make a brand. Oh, I make Comfort Zone CBD. But I kind of looked at it like, no, that wasn't me. I wanted to go to the market and be flexible. So, like, I started my first store August 2019. There's 90% of those products that are in there today weren't there on that day. That's how much change there's been.
Really?
And that's like IT. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, software was the same way.
Yeah,
You know,
a year later, you're done. It's
Yeah,
a totally
so
different world.
so if I had made my own product, I didn't feel like that was a good thing for customers, like, because I would just push my own product to you, and that didn't seem like I was a consultant or somebody you can really trust with your thoughts and, you know, stuff like that. And so I brought in a couple different brands that I thought were unique in their own way. And so now we have, like, the brand you got has no THC, and then I have one with
I was like,
Yeah.
I need nothing.
you and
But are these places you can just call up and place an order for 1,000 units of XYZ and have it shipped over, or do you need, you know, license to get it?
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, they would love to sell you 1,000.
So I have a question.
Mostly, okay. So most of them are small farms. Like, my best one of my best selling products is this little two farm families out of Wisconsin. The product that you bought is a kind of a bigger company, but they have 40,000 acres of hemp growing in Kentucky. They make a beautiful, no THC product. Very
And by the way,
pure.
they sell hemp in, like, literally, they sell bags of hemp at Costco.
Yeah,
You can get, it's what?
It's rope.
It's hemp.
Hemp.
No.
Hemp
It's
hemp seeds.
seeds, and
Yeah.
you
Oh, the
eat
seeds.
it. Like,
But that's not
you-
CBD.
Right.
So most hemp oil, like, you know, Amazon, you can't sell CBD legally on Amazon, and they call it hemp oil. But hemp oil is not the same. Hemp oil comes from the seeds and stems, so they'll have like 10,000 milligrams of hemp oil. That's not CBD. Most everything I sell is crushed from the flower, from the buds. That's the
And
way
so,
to go.
I'm just curious. So you had a withdrawal from your prescription medications. Let's just say that somebody came in and they wanted to take these gummies or some of the products in your store, and then they took them for 6 months and then realized, oh, I don't want to take these anymore. Is there going to be any kind of withdrawal from not taking the CBD?
Oh, that's a funny thing. Yeah, so CBD doesn't get you high, so they don't consider it an addictive drug. And
But
the
you
only
might feel differently.
Yeah,
You might not sleep as well.
Like, if I
or-
didn't have CBD in my body, it would take a couple days for it to all flesh out. First
Right.
of all, CBD has a half-life in your body, 18 to 24 hours, so it's something that builds. And then I can't imagine how bad my neuropathy would be. I wouldn't be able to sleep. You know, so I think, you know, as far as that, I mean, you don't have withdrawals.
Is it accumulative? Is it something that
Yeah.
once you take, like, it then
Builds
okay.
up.
It builds
Right.
up,
Right.
Absolutely.
But the issue is it's masking the pain. So if you stop taking it, the cause of the pain is still there. It's just the pain's going to come back.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know if it's masking. That's like an opioid. Opioids really mask the pain.
Well, how does it take? It doesn't cure the problem.
No, but it reduces some inflammation.
Okay.
Is there anything that CBD cures?
Right.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. Is there anything? I'm sorry. Is there anything what?
The way you said that was hilarious.
What did you ask?
I said, "Is there anything that it does cure?" And he goes, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah.
No, we're not allowed to say.
No, of course, but I'm just
I
saying,
have people like I say to a buddy, "Hey, I haven't seen you in my store. You had bad knees. I gave you that cream." He's like, "Dude, you solved the problem, man. I don't have bad knees anymore."
Okay, so you solved the problem.
Yeah, but I can't
for
say
some
that.
people. No,
yeah,
I
so
no, you're
I
not.
have people like that. I'm like, "Oh, everything's in my system." They'll come back and they go, "Hey, I think I bought this bottle last time. And what didn't quite look like this, but I look it up. And you haven't been here in a year."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Yeah, it's
basically an anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
It's what?
Anti-inflammatory.
And so, is it solved? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's solved for them.
Yeah.
Like people would come in with a crick in their neck or some pulled muscle, then they use a little CBD.
Well, I have ground. We are not at our best. We're not representing. And by the way, we're just drinking water.
Yeah.
Which please, that's your water.
Guests are allowed to drink the good water.
You what?
I said guests are allowed to drink the good water. I'm drinking Crystal Geyser.
Can we have the
Cory, this is a sponsor of ours. It's a high alkaline water.
Oh, it's delicious.
Cory doesn't let me drink the high.
Doesn't it taste? I mean, honestly, it tastes good, right?
Yeah, it tastes good. I could have gulped the whole bottle.
I know. Well, take it. Yeah.
Cory says it's for guests only. I'm not allowed to drink it.
It's not true.
That's why
He's totally messing
I saw
with you.
a lot of it.
Yeah.
But,
it's behind you. It's up on the shelf. All over the place.
We actually, everybody
sell it
who's come
downstairs.
on, no, we don't. But everybody who's been on the show really does notice it does taste clean and fresh.
Yes.
It's really good.
I'm a water connoisseur.
I am
so,
too.
yeah.
Too.
All that
I
alkaline
love
in
it.
there.
I know.
You want another? That's a fresh one right there.
That's okay. I'm good. I'll have to run out and us women and the bladder situation. Does it cure that? No.
It does help with menopause though.
Yes.
Well, get your whole case.
A lot of women going through menopause come in the store because they just can't sleep anymore.
Oh, you say the CBDs?
Yeah.
I thought the water.
I mean, I've just ground my teeth from the time I was young.
stop
My
hot
dad.
That's that's not the worst thing you could do.
Well, it is.
That's where you get all your anxiety through.
Right, but it does help if I just take a couple little drops. I've never taken any medication.
Yeah.
Some doctors are like, "Oh, well, I'll prescribe you this or prescribe." I don't want to take medication. It's a whole other avenue. And I was just like, "Oh, let me see if there's something that's not."
Yeah.
I was very specific. I said, "I don't want to hallucinate. I don't want to do any of that stuff."
And you got the least strong. product.
Exactly. And it's just but I don't do any of that stuff. So my system's very sensitive and responds quickly to anything, Benadryl or whatever.
There's a lot of people like you.
And
Will it stop hot flashes?
Yeah. Well, that won't stop it, but it will help you, not be super annoyed by it.
Will it stop other people being super annoyed?
Well, maybe will that help with your producer?
So
Give me something right now.
If I take it when she has a hot flash, I can take it. It'll stop me from being annoyed.
Yeah. I say that to a lot of people. The best thing we could do for your wife's problem is give you some sleep.
Send her on a vacation.
All right. So let me tell you a story. You had a brain tumor. I have a friend of mine, Marty, who we were at a barbecue and he had a headache, and another mother made a joke. Oh, maybe it's a brain tumor. Well, a week later, he gets diagnosed with a brain tumor. So he goes and gets the operation, and I see him about a couple of weeks later, and one side became paralyzed, which cured up in a year, and he lost hearing in one of his ears.
Jeez.
So I see him about a year later. I said, how you doing? He said, it's the best thing ever happened to me. He said, I put my good ear on the pillow. I don't hear a word she says all night long. I sleep like a baby.
But I'm going to go with Irina.
Yeah, I know. But he was starting to take the CBD stuff.
And he's okay?
He's fine, yeah. Well, the paralysis healed up in about a year.
Yeah.
The hearing loss is gone.
Spot that was operable.
Yes, yeah. The hearing loss is permanent, but he doesn't have any pain anymore.
Yeah.
So it works very well. Yeah. My problem is, so in 2014, 13, 14, and 15, I ran 12, 13, and 14, I ran a company called Movie Music Network. We were like Netflix, but we also put on our own show. It was 420 something. It was all about marijuana.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started researching it. And I think at that time there were 5 states that were legal, Colorado and 4 others. And then the next year it was 9 or whatever. And I heard the story about I don't think it was Jessica, but I had some kid who was having 300 seizures a day.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay, so
there's a couple samples of this.
Right.
Yeah.
So the parents went to every doctor, couldn't do anything. The parents, I think they were living in Kansas or Iowa or something. They went to Colorado, got the CBD oil, gave it to went back home, gave it to the kid. He went from 300 a day to 1 a week. And within a month, the local DA arrested them for giving them CBD. Because
It was more THC, but I get you.
yeah, but it was. What do
nothing
you want
was
for
legal
us?
at that
And from what I understand, they probably moved to Colorado.
No, I think I know the story.
Yeah, but
a lot of people do.
And that's when I really started researching it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it the curative properties, but definitely the pain medication the pain management properties were amazing.
I mean,
And there was never any addiction.
pain, anxiety, sleep.
Right. And we did a big thing that said, look, there are 66,000 opioid deaths, overdoses or deaths a year.
Oh, yeah.
44,000 car crashes. And we said the number of marijuana deaths a year was 0.
Yeah, no.
It just, nobody dies.
Nobody dies from
Yeah,
marijuana.
and the worst thing, I know driving under the influence includes marijuana, but instead of doing 80, you're going to do 20.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to speed up. And the worst is you go to 7-Eleven at 2 in the morning and clear out the shelves. But there's really not a lot of side effects.
Well, there was a movie, actually, a total segue, but called Lorenzo's Oil.
Yeah, well, that was a fantastic movie.
A fantastic movie.
Yeah.
The parents did not stop. They were in the library trying to find these concoctions that saved their son.
Oh my God, it's
And it was all natural stuff, butter, heavy fats.
A lot of
and
olive oil. The guy was an Italian guy.
Yeah.
It was all in the olive oil.
But he researched every component and then made this oil, Lorenzo's oil, that literally saved his son. And so it's like, I'm not a pusher of drugs or I don't take drugs and I don't, but this really does work. It
olive
worked
oil.
for my TMJ.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the
Yeah.
CBD.
Oh, yeah. There's also like a lot of some people do
cream.
the topical.
Yeah, you have the topicals, but you're a blessing.
Yeah, thank you.
And
That's the best part of my job right now is like people actually like me. So when you sell software like I did, I was a job eliminator. I was an efficiency guy. I'd take a staff of 12 accounts payable and I turned down to 2. Nobody liked me. They were like, "Oh, the hatchet man's coming," And I would tell people how to run their businesses. It was just it was a very confrontational type of
people are
profession.
grateful for you now.
No, it's fantastic. Everybody
You're
wants to
helping
talk
people
to
sleep
me.
and
Yeah, it's much more fulfilling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet. And you went through it. I mean, I read you had 8 months of chemo and radiation.
Oh,
and,
yeah. No,
I mean, you really did.
Yeah, no, I did. After the surgery, I had 31 hits to the head with radiation. Put you in a little mask and just it was like getting kicked in the head.
That's after the surgery.
Yeah, you have to heal for a few months, and then
the
they
purpose of
zap
that is
you
for
to make sure that there's nothing there.
Okay.
Right.
Did they have to go through your skull actually to get in? Did they have to get in there? Or it was inside.
No, they opened you up to get in there, or they just through the skin?
For the surgery?
No, the surgery they did. I mean, afterwards, the hits afterwards.
No,
No,
not
not
like
for the
for the
radiation.
surgery.
EKG, but okay.
Yeah, no, the radiation they just zap you.
So the one thing I wanted to ask is, during the pandemic, how did it work with your store being open, closed, and all the shutdowns?
Well, I guess I came out pretty good.
He has an online store, so he's got a website that people
definitely.
all your customers can go to, and
it's got everything. So, like during my so cannabis is an essential business in California.
That's what they say.
So so I qualified. They never shut me down, or even asked. And then, my main customers are older folks, so they've been hiding. I can't get them out to my store. And in the last month or so, they're getting out more because people are getting more comfortable. And I had a lady the other day who was like, "Oh, I've been waiting for a year to come here."
You can't do a delivery service?
I do delivery, but people don't know it. So I have 2 nephews that go to Agoura High School. They're like sophomore and junior. They can't. They did delivery today, but people want to come in.
the elderly were a little bit cautious about even having deliveries in the beginning of this whole thing, because it was like, oh, it's on the paper bag, it's living on this, it's on the receipt, it's
all that came out to be untrue, right?
Yeah.
They said the surface contact was zilch.
Yes, I know a lot of things that are untrue. But
We learned a lot this last year.
Yeah, a lot.
So next time
Really?
there's a pandemic, we'll be
A little
much
bit better,
smarter.
yeah.
But so that's a big part of my market. So kind of my market evolved to more people like our age, and they can't sleep, or they're working out of the house for the first time, or they got kids at home, doing homeschool. Oh my God, I saved a lot of moms. A lot of moms. A lot of kids.
Yeah, I need one with the maximum amount of THC in it.
I need something or I'm going to kill my kids. And so, so my market kind of changed a little bit. It didn't really grow like I planned it to grow, but, we survived.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're one of the lucky ones. Most people didn't survive the pandemic.
Yeah, no, and it was a brand new business, and it was, there's no bank loans for me. It has all my money in there. But I have a great wife who has a great job. So
I want to just talk for a second about that, because I tell my daughter this and people, and I have not made good choices, clearly. But that is probably the number one choice once you graduate college. But the number one best decision you'll make of your life is your life partner.
Yes, choose wisely.
And you really did. I mean, she probably went through it just, with the no sleep alone. I mean, worrying and the hospital visits and the surgery.
Addiction, everything, yeah.
Just everything. Like, it props to you, beautiful wife. You are a saint, and I'm just letting you know you're, a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can...
That's amazing.
I'm a really lucky guy.
That's love.
Yeah.
And it's unconditional, and it stands by you.
Well, it's definitely the best decision ever.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. You can say her name, or are you just going to call her beautiful wife?
Debbie.
Well, I don't know if he wants me to. Debbie, we love you, and you are incredible.
And she really wanted me to do this. She wants me to do this kind of stuff.
Oh, she should have come.
Yeah.
Maybe
she
next
does
time.
the job.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I think it
She's
says a
far
lot,
away.
and it helps. It helps you when you are going through. I mean, I've gone through a lot of really hard times, and I've been alone. And it's like if you have someone there to be your rock, it makes such a difference.
I tell that to my friends. Like I went from my house to like the dorm to a big party house to living with my wife.
Well, you've known her since she was 16.
Yeah,
Your families are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're together.
So you've never
So
lived alone?
nice.
I've never lived alone.
My parents are 91 and 87, or 86 turning 87. And my father got a little too, they're in a retired living.
Yeah.
My father had to move downstairs to assisted living.
Oh.
So my mom's on the third floor, he's on the first. And
Yeah.
it's the first time in 86 years my mom's ever lived alone.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
she loves it. I mean, she sees my dad every day. She goes downstairs, spends a couple
That
hours. She
age.
goes, I get up when I want. Nobody's telling me what to do. So should have done this 86
I don't
years
know
ago.
if I could do the other thing at this point. Ooh.
We don't control each other that way.
No, it sounds like a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful gift for both of you.
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
my wife will let me get away with a lot. Yeah, so I have very few responsibilities around the house.
Oh, that's swell.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm lucky that way.
Yeah, very
Oh,
lucky.
Debbie.
Debbie's
Yeah.
a doer.
Debbie's a doer.
Yeah.
I love you, Debbie.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
Stu,
the fact
we
that she
just
stuck with you for 3 years through that.
Oh,
Not a lot of
she
women
didn't really
would.
have a choice.
Not a lot of men would.
Nobody would let her.
see. Now I would.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
stick
I said
through
not a lot. I
anything.
didn't
I
say
know. I'm
none.
just saying, like I would totally.
Yeah, she takes everything,
And you have 3 beautiful children. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Where are
great.
your kids now?
Well, funny you ask. So I got a 24-year-old daughter. We're moving her down to San Diego this weekend. She's got a new job down in San Diego. So she went. She's a graduate of FITM.
Oh,
And
the
so,
Fashion
yeah,
Institute.
yeah,
I went to
so-
there.
Yeah, neat. And so
For a minute.
yeah, she was so when I got sick, she was a really tough kid in high school. I mean, this was my worst kid in high school, and like this was her senior year. She barely graduated. This is when this happened to me, and it really probably sealed our relationship. And she ended up graduating and moving on from there. And she she went to FITM. She's got a really great personality, really beautiful girl. And
Did you get a job in fashion?
yeah.
Okay.
So she did it first, and now she's working for this other company down in San Diego. She loves her new job. She's doing all, so
And
she's
the,
been able to be successful. Then I have
the
a 22-year-old son that goes to Chico State,
Okay.
Oh.
and he's an ag major, so he's going to be a farmer. But he had to take off this last year because he's in his final year, and it's all hands-on. So the kid is like this. This is really, he's a great kid. He got a seasonal job in the summertime with the Land Bureau of Idaho Land Bureau, and he's a soils major. That's his specialty. He wants to be and he literally got
we
a
need
job.
help on that.
He literally got a job in the soils department. So every day he would go out and they'd dig 30 holes and analyze the soil. And it was like a dream job. Yeah.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
lived out of his truck and camped. So he was like living on federal land. And then he took a winter job at the Grand Targhee Ski Resort up in Wyoming, like next to the
I love this kid.
Jackson Hole's right there. And so he was a lifty all summer, all winter. He just came home. He's home right now.
Operating the lift?
Yeah,
Lift
lift
operator.
operator. Yeah, so I was like, all he did was snowboard.
Yeah,
And ski and backcountry ski.
Free lift tickets.
And he just came home for he hasn't been home in a year. So he came home. He's actually home right now. And but he's got a summer job doing river tours in Yellowstone.
I was going to say.
Yeah, so he's going to be a tour guide.
That's great.
Yeah, and then my youngest, unfortunately, he was a graduate last year. He graduated high school last year, Chucky. So he's 19 now. He got into UC Santa Cruz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so,
yeah,
but he didn't go. He had deferred it and did, he works for me. He works for the store 3 days a week. He's a really smart kid. Big kids, like 6'7", superstar, super stud in sports.
All your
6'7"?
kids are
6'7",
I'll tell you.
6'4", 6'5",
And your wife is how tall?
5'8", something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the big one.
I saw him on your. He's got a nice family photo
Yeah.
on his
Put
website.
fertilizer in his bed every night or what?
I don't know. That kid
CBD.
came out. That kid came out 10 pounds.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was 10 pounds, 10.2.
You know, Schwarzenegger's kids were 9 pounds each.
Yeah.
They weren't even that
Ariana
big.
was
10
8'12",
pounds huge.
so
Yeah.
Was she really?
I'm like, yeah.
You were 12
8'12".
pounds. You didn't show until the 7th month.
No,
Not even the
I have
7th month.
8'12", and she was 22 inches. But what happens when you're weak?
Oh,
you're-
8'12".
Yeah, 8'12",
Yeah.
yeah. But that's still big for me.
Yeah, it's
Like,
huge for you.
And
Yeah.
22 inches, she was long, but when you're overdue,
No.
they grow a half a pound each week.
Ugh.
So
You
I
just
was
didn't
2
let
weeks
go. You
overdue.
wouldn't let go, you helicopter.
I wouldn't let go. I'm still won't let go.
Put her back. You put her back in a minute.
If I could. If I could.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I can't.
do have great kids.
Yeah,
they seem great.
you're blessed, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
thank God that you're
God.
here and you are now helping others, which
Yeah.
I always say, if you can turn your pain into your purpose, then you're doing something right. So
Yeah,
you've done that.
definitely. Yeah.
And thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. We can't thank you enough for coming in today. I know you're down the road and you're probably it's the end of the day for you. And I thank you for taking your time today.
my pleasure.
We do have a
I-
couple questions
Yeah.
that are kind of fun.
It's been fun.
Oh, good.
If you could, okay, I get this wrong every time. 3, I'm gonna,
If you turn around, it's written on
No.
the wall because she can't say it right.
no, 3 words that describe you.
Okay.
I can't. It's like I have to
What are
preface it
th-
by saying
what are 3 words
So
that
what
describe
are
you?
would be good if you put. What are 3 words that describe you?
So I have this like problem.
You or yourself?
that I always try to correct myself because I always describe people by their physical look, you
Okay.
know, and
That's not even what. Yeah, what? It's
Yeah.
like 3 words that would describe.
So like the first thing that comes to my mind is always I'm tall, and I'm genuinely a nice guy,
That's
and-
true.
pretty logical.
Logical is a great quality. Nobody has said that one
Debbie
yet.
picked well. Tall, nice, and logical.
Yeah. Logical is
I try
very,
to be
very
nice
good.
as much as I
Every-
can.
yeah.
Yeah.
All you can do is try.
All you can do is try. And so I
Bob's
try to treat
still
people
trying.
like I want to be treated. You know,
Yeah.
Some of us
I'm
don't
a good
try as
neighbor. That's what I would call myself.
That's
I'm a good neighbor.
a wonderful
Allstate
thing.
neighbor. You're all state.
Yeah.
Is
That's a
Allstate's
wonderful
neighbor?
thing.
The good neighbor's
Good
Allstate, right?
hands people.
That's good hands.
Yeah.
Shoot,
You're in
who's the
good
good
hands.
neighbor?
So maybe that's 3.
State Farm? No. Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah,
a
like
good
good
neighbor.
neighbor, State Farm.
State Farm.
is-
State
yeah.
Farm's a good neighbor.
Sorry,
Yeah,
we
sing
just
the song.
little
Any-
plug there for State Farm.
Any chance to sing? Any
That was good,
opportunity?
though. That was an old
Yeah.
jingle, they
Jingle,
call
yeah.
them. Yeah. Wow, good one. Yeah. We're
Not even in
tracking.
the biz and he knows jingle.
I know. I'm in the biz.
Yeah, him.
Oh, him.
You're in
well,
the
he's.
biz.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, and our last question is, who is your celebrity
Plug your ears,
crush?
Debbie.
Yeah, we know. Debbie, there's
my
nobody that could
God,
beat you, but
there's
it doesn't
so
have to
many.
be like a
I fall in
female.
So many.
I fall in love with all. I'm not like the kind of guy that has
Debbie,
a type for
we
girls.
love
Like I have friends that are like, oh, I can only,
goes, "I
I can
fall in
only
love."
date blondes, something
Right.
like that. But I don't really have a type. So I would say,
My type is female.
yeah.
Does your crush change over time?
Yeah.
Okay,
for
who's it
sure.
now?
For sure.
Which is interesting.
let me
'cause
think,
you've
what's
been
the
married
last
for
show?
55 years.
Yeah.
What was the last show? I
Yeah.
love you, Stu. You're
Yeah.
hilarious.
I'm very easy that way.
All right, let's
It's
do
like
it this way.
squirrel.
Who was your crush as a kid? Who was the one that was like, older than you, so out of the league?
Oh man, in my years it was like Farrah Fawcett,
Yeah.
Cheryl Teague.
Mine was
all
Christy
that.
Brinkley.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Christy
from the Sports
Brinkley.
Illustrated one,
Yeah,
right?
for
Yeah,
sure.
By the way, she still looks fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Almost 70 now,
fantastic.
yeah.
So I've been watching this cooking show with Selena Gomez. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she has a
she's really
cooking show.
young.
She's adorable.
But she's so adorable. I have a
She's
crush on her.
adorable.
She's in her late 20s by now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine. She's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's a beautiful person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So have you ever seen
And-
the cooking show? She does it from her grandparents' house. Or
No,
whatever.
I have not seen
Yeah, so
this.
it's hilarious. So she does this like Zoom with some other celebrity chef, and she cooks along with them. It's hilarious.
Wow. Well, she had
It's a great one.
she had some serious health problems back away.
After
I
Wizards,
think like
yeah.
a kidney or something. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. It's out there. She talks about it.
Yeah.
But
No, she did. Yeah, she definitely had
yeah,
some issues.
yeah.
I just got done watching Ted Lasso for the third time.
Oh, it was such a great show.
So my
haven't seen that.
Max came home. He doesn't watch it, so we had to all watch it together.
It's
Ted
on
Lasso?
Apple TV, isn't it?
yeah, Apple TV.
Okay, so it's on Apple TV.
Oh, you haven't seen Ted Lasso?
No.
Oh my
Who's
god.
the guy from Saturday Night Live?
James Sudeikis or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis. Yeah.
Oh, he's in that?
He's-
somebody
he's-
else
oh my-
told me
he's
about
Ted
this.
Lasso.
He's an American football coach.
Okay.
And they
No,
hire
don't tell her any of this. 'Cause
Okay, yeah.
I think the best way
it goes in the first episode.
Yeah. don't
Okay,
give
but
me-
I'm just
So
telling you, like when I watched that, I watched it cold. I had no idea it was about a soccer coach.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
too late.
yeah, yeah.
So he's an American
Anyways.
football coach that they hire in England to be a
Football or
soccer coach.
soccer?
No, football.
Well, I
And he
played
gets
soccer for
hired
10 years,
in
so I love this.
England to be a soccer coach.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's so
He's
hilarious.
great.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And there are a lot of twists.
It
and
might
plot-
be the best
Yeah.
show that I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's that,
Okay,
and there's
well, I
the
can't wait.
crew with King of Queens guy, Kevin
Oh, I haven't seen.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin
I
James.
love him. Kevin
he's
James.
A
He's
race. He's a
great.
race car pit chief.
Oh yeah.
That's on Netflix called The Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Crew's great, but Ted Lasso is just amazing.
So there's that.
Offspring is really good,
So
too.
I'm just thinking
No,
about
these are like the ranch. These are like 10 episode
the
sitcoms.
blonde lady that owns that's my newest celebrity crush. I guess.
Who?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know
what?
who she was?
Wait, hold on a second.
The
It's
owner
your
of the-
newest from 5 minutes ago?
Yeah,
from
yeah.
My
Selena
latest
Gomez?
show. I
Well, first of
watched.
all,
Yeah.
it's a woman his size because she's a very tall,
Yes.
Who is-
buxom blonde.
What's her name?
Statuesque, picturesque.
Did you see Game of
goddess the
Thrones?
night. Oh yeah. I'll bet.
You know, she was in that. She was the nun that was beating up the queen. Remember the nun that was real strict on the queen? That was her.
Who is this we're talking about?
The
What's her
girl in
name?
Ted Lasso, the girl who owns the football
Yeah.
team,
Oh,
the soccer
okay.
team that he
Totally.
fit.
Okay.
Yeah.
woman.
Keep talking. I'm going to look her up. But I
Oh,
looked up
yeah.
and found out she was that nun.
Yeah.
But she was in the habit. You really
Yeah,
couldn't see her.
no, I
Yeah.
couldn't.
I'm going to have to watch that. I just finished a show, an Australian show called Offspring.
Oh.
It's hilarious and funny and very good, yes.
Yeah.
Probably will like that one.
Yeah.
It's kind of a quirky, humorous,
All right,
if you
her
like.
name is
Jason
Hannah
Sudeikis was in,
Hannah Waddingham. Waddingham.
what's it called?
Hannah Waddingham.
I just like her whole demeanor.
Yeah, she's very.
And the
very
way she
funny.
dresses. She's just the boss, though.
She's like the very proper
Yeah, so,
English
like-
lady.
Let me see her. That's
Yeah.
her? Sorry, I know we're doing a podcast here. Well, I don't want to.
She's on the screen. Can you see her on the screen?
Oh, yeah, she's on the screen, but for our listeners, well, today was informative.
Yes, thank
And
you.
it is, I think it kind of, it helps. There's a stigma that goes along with anything like this, especially if
yeah.
you're a Christian or you're, have
Yeah.
beliefs, you get, but I just want to make it clear, like, I'm not at all, I don't do drugs. I'm not pushing drugs, but the CBD aspect of it, I believe God made. It's a plant.
Absolutely.
And it does help people.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And, that's the main thing.
And it's just brand new, so
Yeah.
the potential is unlimited.
Yeah.
Like we
it's
never
brandly
expected
new
the-
legal. It's been around for hundreds and thousands of years,
Yes.
but government has finally said,
The way
okay,
we
let's
have it.
let them have it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, remember 1989? I was selling $5,000 computer that took up this whole desk, and now
Yeah.
my iPhone is more powerful.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's
right.
probably how it's going to go.
Right.
Well, they put a man on the moon.
We'll figure out.
If you
better-
believe they put a man on the moon. In computers, it wouldn't even fit in his room.
Exactly.
And now your iPhone's 100 times more powerful than those computers.
Yeah. So the with ingenuity, and different science that's going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out, and maybe all our medicines will come from.
But I like the fact
this.
that they take the THC out of it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to get high and you just want the
Yeah.
anti-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory.
I mean, people take
they can-
anti-inflammatories from the market. There's
Right.
anti-inflammatories, so.
So the process is called winterization. So every molecule freezes at a different temperature, so they know the temperature of how they can freeze out the THC, and that's how they regenerate.
Interesting.
Macularization.
Molecularization.
Molecularization.
The molecular level.
Thank you, Stu Meyer.
My pleasure.
Your
Thank you very
store
much.
is the
Very nice
Comfort
meeting you.
Zone in Agora and in Montrose.
And online at.
CBDcomfortzone.com. Same.
All right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks
or
for
call
coming
me.
by.
A lot of people call me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They call
Yeah.
him Stu.
Calms.
And we're out.
Are you ready to hear children laughing and playing outside again? Childrensbusinessfair.org is too. That's why they need your help to launch a children's business fair in your neighborhood. It's easier than you think. If you or your children will invite some friends and provide a safe place to showcase 5 or more booths, they'll provide the rest and up to $500 in prize money. It's a gift and celebration of the curiosity and drive of young entrepreneurs all around the world. Start your audition to host a fair in your community or find out more at podcast.childrensbusinessfair.org. Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver and thank you for watching the Coriolis Effect. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode. Here are some more episodes you might enjoy. Hit the subscribe button below and have a great day.